Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. I hope you guys have been well this week. It's been a busy week for me at work. At home, I've had a little bit of time to consider what I'm going to do with these tanks that I've been painting over the last few weeks. At work, it's just been, I work seasonally, so it's the first time this year that I've actually had guests coming on the site. I work at a residential centre for children, and it's been chaotic. Today has been bonkers, and I'm really looking forward to today getting stuck into doing some painting. If you're new here at Easy 8, we're not a tutorial show or anything like that at all. There's loads of that stuff already out there. This is just literally a painting club that is online, so if you want to come along, make some friends or bring your friends, then you're more than welcome to come along and join us over here in the live chat and me here while I paint some stuff on the camera here. Come along and put some paint on your unpainted plastic, because we've all got hordes of that building up around us, haven't we? Yep. Yeah, I did a little video a couple of weeks ago now on Facebook to kind of show the embarrassing levels of stuff around me, and the idea of this show is to try and do something to get through it. But lately I find myself in a little bit of a rut, like I just can't seem to do things quick, and I don't know why that is. It's probably because I feel like I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I want to be doing things to kind of, you know, get things better, get things, you know, looking really tight. But I don't know why I'm struggling. I don't know why I've been painting these little tanks here for ages and ages, and it feels like that I should have done so much more between now and then. But I don't know why it is. I don't know why I'm struggling so much. We've got some guys over here in the live chat. We've got Kez, we've got Mike, we've got Jeff. Who else have we got over there? Just you guys at the moment. Hi guys, thanks for coming along. I hope you're having a lovely evening. I'm struggling to talk right now because my headset's gone a little bit weird. I can't actually hear my voice. So let me know if you're struggling to hear me. It would be a shame if my microphone has given up the ghost. I've got the levels going up saying that I'm talking. I just can't hear myself very well, which is a little bit weird. That's a little bit unusual. Never mind. Maybe if I give a little bit of a wiggle at the back here. That's better. Now I can hear myself. There's a little bit of damage to my headset. There, I can hear me. Yeah, so if you've got some stuff to bring along, I'm genuinely interested in knowing what it is that you're painting. I'm not just saying that to get the likes. If you are working on a project this evening, Kez saying I can hear you fine. Thanks, man. Yeah, if you are painting something this evening, let me know what it is. Come over here and chat in the live chat. Stick it over on Facebook as well, because we're over there on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Discord. So if you want to join the Easy 8 after party after the show, you can come along to that too. You can put your photographs wherever you want. Yeah, it'd be great to hear from you. We've had loads of people kind of putting up photos of what they're doing this week. So I've got Jeff, I've got Kez at the moment. Jeff says he's trying to figure out the best way to put World War I trenches into and through a rooming. It would be a terrific build if it works. And that's a really, really cool build that you've got there, like a blown out Normandy farmhouse. Dormer windows and a massive hole in the roof. That's really, really cool. So nice paving around the outside too. Very nice. And then Kez has got finished magnetising and building my Doredio Dreadnought. That's looking sick. That is absolutely fantastic. If you want to see what I'm looking at, you should head on over to Facebook right now, where Easy 8 is over there, because it's looking really cool. Mike says you're loud and clear here, Danny. Nah, thanks very much, man. No, it's just my headset. I've had some damage to it ages and ages ago, and every now and again I put them on, and it sounds like I'm underwater. It just like that. I know that it's coming out on the readout fine. Just want to make sure that it's not affecting what you're listening to. So yeah, before I got distracted, I was saying that I was painting my little tanks. It's one of those little things where I feel like I should be much, much further ahead. I've been painting these now for how many weeks? I know it's only a couple of hours at a time, but they're just green. I was sitting there looking at it the other day going, that's just a bit depressing, isn't it? That's the whole point of this show, though, right? The whole point of the show is to come along to actually carve out a little bit of time throughout the week that we wouldn't normally try and find. So I've had some like messages of success, people saying like, "Hey, thanks for giving me the time." You're more than welcome. It's still your time, but I hope that this show kind of gives you what it is that you need to find that motivation, inspiration. That'd be even cooler, right? So yeah. I'm going to get stuck in straight away, so I'm going to take you straight over to the workbench. But don't forget, if you are new here, we've got some new people coming along here. That's a word that I don't know if I'm going to say it right, but I'm going to have a go at pronouncing this right. If it's your name and I pronounce it wrong, I'm really, really sorry. Valen Alsorna. Hi, Valen. Please tell me if I pronounced that wrong. I'm really sorry. I like to get people's names right because it's personal. It's rude to not get it right. It says it's never just green. Yeah, you're right. I suppose we're all perfectionists in one way. Like I could be sitting here painting loads and loads and loads of details, or just trying new techniques, or trying to get that perfect shade or that perfect mixture or whatever. You're absolutely right. Welcome to the show. Thanks very much for coming along. Jeff says just rattle can them. Yeah, I could do. I used to spend so much time like doing all the super cool details like it's a really big model, but it doesn't show up on these tiny little 15mm tanks. So just spraying them one color has helped me, and like all I do now is I just kind of put a wash on them and do some highlights on them. But that's the problem. Like this, what is this, week 3 on these bad boys now? Like, get them done, Danny, for crying out loud. Anyway, what I was saying is, if it's your first time here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, because it's just such a little gesture on your part that has such a massive effect on this end over here. It feeds my ego. It really makes me want to carry on, and it feeds into the algorithm on YouTube. The more subscribers we get, the more that it will invite along, and the more that they might subscribe, and it becomes a catalyst. So yeah, please do subscribe, hit the bell, because you never know, I might do a surprise video. That's some foreshadowing, that is. So you'll never know when I'm online if you don't hit that bell button. Anyway, do you know what? Away from here, gonna go on over to the workbench now. Here we go. 15mm, my word, says Valen. Yes, little tiny tanks. Here we are. Just a couple of little Churchill gun carriers. So yeah, I play Water Tanker. You can play Flames of War. There's loads of other games that you can play. In fact, last week, at the end of last week's show, I was on Discord talking to Mike over there in the live chat for over an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and we just talk about all the different games that are available on all the different scales and that Mike plays as well. And what's the game? Oh, I can't remember what it's called now. Something command, Chain of Command. That's the game, Chain of Command. I thought that was a larger scale, but that's 15mm or has variations. Am I right? I don't know. Just joking, says Jeff. Don't spray them. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to spray them. No, I'm not going to spray them. Of course, I'm not going to. So what I've been doing with these, I've been painting these in the British late war olive drab colours. I suppose what's holding me back, the reason that I'm not entirely happy about these, I'm not happy with them, they look okay, is that they don't look as cool as my Firefly without the extended turret bit there, which I will correct that one day. I can't remember what it is that I've done to this thing that makes it look different. You can see there's a difference, right? There is a difference. This one, it ever so slightly more highlighted, and I don't know what I did to achieve that. So yeah, he stands out very differently to my American olive drab, which is a totally different colour. You can see there, that's the difference between those two. I want them to be different. I want my British greens to be different from my American greens. I know that all the way through World War II that there were so many different types of colours dependent on factories, period, location, and just general, the crew might have painted it differently. But I want my models to have like distinct colours because it's just what I do. So yeah, I don't know what it is that I did to this one. I painted it so randomly, as a one-off thing such a while ago now that I just can't remember. Valen says, I'm 100% not talented enough to do 15mm. I was super glad when the bigger Primaris came out. The Primaris Space Marines, the bigger ones. Yeah, that's a fair shout. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a talented painter. I'm not good. This isn't me on a show like where you see there's a lot of people over on Twitch especially, where they're just really talented artists and they just do wonderful stuff that makes you want to throw your paintbrushes in the bin. I'm not that guy. I wish I was. So I do as best I can. I know a lot of cheats, a lot of hacks to get me somewhere half decent. I just enjoy putting paint on models, so I try not to overthink it really, but I always do. So I don't know what colour I used to highlight this, or did I use a colour to highlight it? Is that just the effect? I can't remember, but I like it and I want it. If I compare the American green to the British green, there is still a difference, so it is good. I don't know. Anyway, this one I started highlighting last week, this one I didn't. And all I did with it is I just used that base colour again. So this is the one that I based them all with, and then I washed them, let that dry. That took a million years, and then I went over with a dry brush on them, on this one, and it's quite nice. What I'm thinking is that I need to go through my smart colours, which I don't know what I've done with now because I'm so wonderfully tidy in my house. What have I done with those paints? Oh, there they are. Is that them? No, that's actually some dice. What have I done with my smart paints? There they are. They were just underneath a piece of paper. Wonderful. I've got this smart set here. The ETO colours, the European Theatre of War. Is that right? Is that what it means? I don't know. Oh, anyway, here we go. Here are my colours. I wonder if I use the different colour to sort of highlight it with. So that's going to be my journey today, really, is just kind of bring the highlights on them a little bit, just make them look a little bit brighter, pop them just a little bit. Not much more than this. They've got a lot more angles on these Churchills, because obviously the turret here is quite a rounded feature, and it's the prominent thing that sticks out. It's the nose on the face, isn't it? So these will have a lot more hard edges on them, and it might show off that colour a little bit more. I went through these when I was choosing the colour for them. I went through all of these, and I don't think that there was like a highlight colour in here. I'm just going to have a little look through them and just make sure that I've got it right, because I've got a service drab here, but it's I don't think it's a green. I'm going to give it a really good shake. It's got theatre of operations. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a good shake, because it might just need a bit of mixing, and it might be that I used a different colour on them. Anyway, Valen says the reference one, the American one, looks ace. Do you like that one? That's really cool, isn't it? Was that my first one I ever did? One of my first two. I've got C20 and C19. I can't remember why I chose those numbers now. I really like these. They were really, really simply done. The reason that they're so nice looking is because I used a modulation set of colours. I've got them right here. Those ones I haven't lost. Here we go. These are from AK Interactive, the US Olive Drab, and they've been made for 1/35th scale models or larger scale models, where you can get basically shadows and highlights and all the depth in between. It's a beautiful set of paints. I highly recommend it. Green is a beautiful colour to work with. You can get a lot out of it for very little effort. Designed to work in an airbrush, but you could do glazes and things like that. Probably take a little bit longer. And of course, having gone from 1/35th scale down to 15mm, spent all that time trying to get all of those colours into one tiny 15mm model. It was really difficult. Basically, just don't. I like to do a little bit of shadow on them and a little bit of highlight on them, and that's where I go with that. So I don't think this is the right colour. This isn't a highlight colour. The problem with this smart set is it's not a modulation set, which is what I was looking for at the time. This has just got 4 different colours in there. It was the best thing that I could get for British green. The modulation set for the olive drab, US olive drab, is it's all one colour. It's just different hues. Is that right? Or different luminosities, that's the right word, of the same hue. So it's all olive drab. But you've got like a shadow colour, you've got a dark base, then that's the basic colour there, a slightly lighter version of it, then there's a highlight, and then if you want to go right to the highest peaks of like this little line here, for example, that's like that. Yeah, do you know what I mean? You get it. So that's a modulation set. This isn't. This is just, here are some colours that were commonly used with the British service vehicles in that time. So you can see there's one here with 2 colours on it. Then there's a Churchill here with a green colour on it, and then there's I think is that a little it's not a Lee, is it? Is that a little honey tank, a little Stuart? Probably is a little Stuart. It looks like it, but that's got like a little brown colour on there, like this one. That's what that is. So it's not a modulation set. So that would be really handy right now. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll just add a tiny little bit of white to some paint and see if that gets me where I need to be. Interestingly, on this picture, that is not a standard Sherman. That is an Easy 8 Sherman. That's what the show is named after. Look at those bogies down there, you can tell. Anyway, there you go. Cool. So yeah, modulation colours. That's not the right colour, is it? I don't know how I did it, and I don't even know if I filmed it when I was painting that one. If I did it online, did it on air, would I be able to find out what colours I used? Oh, I just don't know. Jeff says, I think it's that flat top on the Churchills. Not a lot of detail on it, on that bit, so it looks different to the Sherman colour. Yeah, maybe that. I know when I did all the washing on it, it wasn't done with Agrax Earthshade, which is what I moved on to. I used, and this might be the key factor here, I used the enamel washes that I would use on my larger builds. So have I got any here? This is the wrong colour, but this is the same sort of stuff. This is the rust streaks, so they're enamel based, they're oil, that you have to clean them with thinners and things like that, and they make some wonderful effects very, very easily on them. Lost on the 15mm tank, so I stopped using them. That might be the key factor. So yeah, anyway, whatever. Valen says, knowledge! Yeah. Do you know, painting models, historic models, has taught me so much. I found so much fun going away and researching things about the vehicles and why we did it. It's been quite a journey. My knowledge has increased because I paint models. That's a point for nerds right there. Cool, huh? Anyway, got a cup of tea, Friday evening, drinking hard today. Cheers. That is a strong cup of tea. Okay, cool. So, one of the problems I was having last week is the choice of dry brush. Kez in the live chat very kindly lent me these a little while ago to use, and they are absolutely brilliant dry brushes. However, I think that they're the wrong technique to be using for the type of results that I'm looking for. So talking to Jeff last week, I think you mentioned in the live chat, use a brush with longer bristles. I accidentally tipped a little bag of spare cheaper brushes, and then these two fell out. I was like, wow, these actually might be what I'm looking for. This one here's got a slightly larger spread on it, quite soft, which will be nice and delicate for applying it, and I think this might be my go-to brush here. So I'm just going to put this one away, and I'm going to go back to that colour that I used for the base colour, the British olive drab, and I'm going to give it a good shake. What's really good about Ammo MiG, it's different from the AK stuff, is they got the agitator ball in there, and it's like really helps stir them up. Anyway, here we go. Just going to give it a bit of a shake. You know what's coming, don't you? Stafford's not in the live chat every week. Every week he's in there. He's not in there this time. He's going to miss out. Okay. And now that I've given it a good old shake, I'm going to stick it on the Easy 8. Patent pending. It's not patent pending. That's a lie. The Wazomatic. You can't see it. If you're new, Valen, you can't see it, but it's a vortex mixer, and I just call it a Wazomatic. It's stupid. I'm sorry. Dave's in. Was it? I'll give you £20 if you get it tattooed on you. Such a stupid and somewhat offensive word. Okay, that's nice and mixed up now. Now these are designed for airbrush, so they are really watery. So it is. Everyone's laughing now. Takes a minute to kind of get the right consistency on your brush. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my little airbrush sheet in here. Don't really like using this on these tanks because they've got metal parts on them. It's very, you can see here all the silver showing through. It's very easy to rub the paint off, and if I put them on this where it's quite rough paint, I'll be careful. I'm not going to turn it over again. It's a little bit brighter there. I'm sorry about the glare. Anyway, I'm going to get a little bit of paint on the edge of my palette there. There we go. And I'm going to chuck a tiny dot of white in there. I'm actually a little bit nervous about this mix because it's very easy to ruin the colour. But just the tiniest little dot. I know you can't see what I'm doing there. There we go. That might have actually even been way too much. Don't store your paints, Danny, with the lid off. Idiot. Okay. Got a little mixing brush over here. It's just my dead little airbrush mixing brush. I'm just going to spend a second mixing those paints together. Yeah, that was far too much white. It doesn't take a lot to turn a colour into a highlight. I'm actually going to put, although it's not far off what I want, I am going to put another drop of that olive drab in there. Just a second. Come on, don't be stingy. There we go. Probably pretty good, but I do want to be light with the dry brushing here. I think you can see this is the colour that I was spraying last week. Yeah, that's it's not really showing up on the camera as well at all, but yeah, we're pretty close there. Right, so I'll just get a little bit on the brush and I'm gonna brush it off on the paper. Don't want it to come off too easy. If it's too wet, which is very easy to do being an airbrush paint, it's just going to slap on, and I want it to be a really subtle effect. Okay, cool. So, I'm going to start on the corner here. Work across that hatch detail there. And I don't want to be like all over it. I don't want to filter the colour. I just want to add some highlights. Do you know, when I added that second drop of green in there, I think it's actually ruined it. I think I did want that brighter colour. Okay, I'll drop another drop of white in. It's one of those things now, I'm chasing the colour and I'll never ever get it. Just one more bit this way, one more bit that way. Like beating a dent out of a car. You will never get it back. Lovely. Okay, cool. Let's get that on the brush then. Probably could even go lighter. But bit by bit, right? It looks darker on my hand. Welcome to the show where I get things wrong all the time. This is why it takes me weeks to paint a single little model. Easy 8 Angry Painting Club. Okay. I wonder if you can see that very well. Like my lights, like there's a compensator on my camera where it goes really dark, really light, really dark, really light. Don't forget acrylic's dry lighter, Danny. Absolutely true. Don't think I want to go too light, because what's probably going to happen is it's going to end up looking like the US drab, and I don't want that at all. That makes it sound like I'm being offensive to Americans. Not at all. Like I just don't want that colour to be anywhere near the same. If anything, it'll just bring the colour back up from being darkened down. Yeah, I don't know. I must have used like another colour or something, or I just don't know how I achieved it on the other tank. So I think what I need to do is just find something that I'm happy with and just roll with it and know that it's done. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a tank, it's 15mm, no one really looks at it that much. It's just a point of pride. That's a good thing, right? I'm going to do one more drop of white, one more, and I'm not going to take it any further than that, because, you know, it's getting silly now, isn't it? To be fair, that first mixture I had was probably where I wanted it. Never mind. Okay, it's gone quite pale now, so I'm going to apply this layer really delicately so that it doesn't become the saturating colour. I don't want to like change, I don't want to filter the colour of the tank, I don't want to change it. What's important is that the wash has gone into all the little creases and has, you know, shown all the detail. Just trying to pick those edges out, just ever so slightly. That's all this is. Okay, here we go. Let's give this a try. This is a lot brighter. It's quite a nice colour. I like green. It's not my favourite colour, but it's probably my favourite paint colour to work with. Valen says, how about Caliban green Dark Angels here? Oh, you're a Dark Angels player, are you? Fair. I don't have many Citadel colours. I have a small range, so I don't have Caliban, but I do have the Vallejo Game Air range, which is a recipe of paints made by Vallejo, which is made to come close to popular competitive paints like Citadel. So while they're not exactly the same, there is one that's very close to Caliban. I think with Caliban, as I think it is too dark a green, I think, but I think it's it's a wrong hue. It's a wrong shade of green. It might work. I do have quite a range of greens. Saying that though, I do have quite a range of Citadel greens. I bought them for something a little while ago. That's quite a bright green. That's quite an appropriate green. It's quite muted. So compared to that one there, see how that was really bright, like a dead grass colour. That one there that might actually be an appropriate colour to go and use. I'll do it on the other one. It's already looking good. Thanks, man. Okay, here we go. So this is the really light colour. Let's see what happens. I like it. Cat hair? Of course it's a cat hair. Go away, cat hair. What I'm going to do, I always like to have a little bit more highlight on the front of a tank, and I like a lot more shadow to be at the back of a tank. That's a lot more easy to do on larger scales. It just brings focus to the front of the tank, where I think it's more business endy. But also I like the grease and the grime and the dirt to be at the back on the engine bay, and I like to kind of draw focus to that by having it in a bit more shadow. And then of course I do apply shadow to the undersides and highlights to the tops as well. But because of all of that complication, it is much easier to do on a larger scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of brush quite vigorously here, like that, on this front, and I'm going to apply quite a bit to the gun there. And just a little bit on the back. I think what this is telling me is I can go a little bit heavier actually on the shading. So when I'm going back in with the washes on a future tank for the British colours, so I can go a bit heavier, really darken the whole colour down, and use this colour or a similar one to bring the colour back up again. As if I was using a modulation set, I'd just go through the grades in different locations. So the tough bit here is inside the front. Because it's an area of shadow, I don't want to bring too much highlight in there, but I do want to bring some of the details up, and I don't want it to be too saturated. This colour's actually working. I'm actually really happy with this. It's not identical to the Firefly. I think it's quite obvious that I'm not going to achieve exact copy there. That's fine. Going to paint the tracks in little bits, so hopefully we'll get rid of all those metal bits on there too. Going to try and apply just a little bit more highlight on that front flat surface there. Just bring a little bit of attention to it. And then on the front of the mantlet there. There we go. Do you know what? If I take that away, hopefully my white balance will level out. Bring some lights in nice and close. What does everybody think? That's not too shabby, is it? That's alright. Compare it to the other one. Compare it to the Firefly. You can see how this is much paler. Do you see the difference? I don't know what I did to this. I really don't at all. Maybe it was varnish that did it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm happy with that. I want it to stand out different from the American tank, and it does. So that's good. Right. Let's go to this one here. And I'm contemplating using this colour. I don't know. Give this one a good shake. Jeff says, are you going to remember this colour when you get to paint the rest? You do have a load of shems to do. Yep, they're all right here. one of the things I was thinking is if I get really annoyed at this, so I could just go over and paint, get the airbrush out again. But I've got a Sherman 75, and I've got 2 Fireflies that are unpainted, ready to go there. And I've also got, hold the fort, my little Matilda. Isn't my little Matilda wonderful? I love a Matilda. Matilda 2 to be precise. Just a beautiful little tank, isn't it? It's just been base coloured. It hasn't. Nothing else has been done to it. So yeah, it needs a lot of work. It's actually got quite a bit of dust on it as well. Yeah. Love a Matilda 2. I'd actually quite interested maybe in doing those up in African colours because they were used in Africa. I've been told they worked well out in the desert. Right, just mixing up this Lauren Forest colour, giving it a bit of a shake. It's a brand new pot. I've not opened it before. You know what's happening? Wazomatic time. Let's see how that colour compares. It's much more muted, and I think I prefer it. Let me bring in my very, very clean palette. Please don't judge me, alright? Don't judge me on how clean my palette is, but I want to show you the colour that I've mixed up. Don't judge me. There's that colour that I've just mixed up. There's that colour there. See the difference in them? Alright, now compare it to the Firefly here. And I know it's a richer green, but I think it's the right sort of paleness. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm gonna give it a go, alright? So I'm just gonna go straight from the pot. A little bit on the page there. That's quite a bit I pulled out there, never mind. Oh, now I'm putting it on the paper, it might be completely wrong. There's no satisfying me, is there? Shut up. I can hear your judgment. Right. I'm going to make a quick pass over on the front here. I can always go over it, right? Can I take credit for this if it works? Do you know what? Fill your boots. Yeah, absolutely you can. All I'm going to do is that front panel there. I'm going to go a little bit heavier and on the edges. There's going to be a little bit of hate inside if this is the colour that I've been looking for. This isn't the colour that I used. I know because I've bought this paint. It's fairly new. I've not even opened it before. And I'm pretty particular with my historical colours. I try to not use colours outside of, you know, the historical colours. So I'll not use like Game Air or Citadel colours when I've got access to things like AK. Okay, I actually think it is a little bit too green. It is. That's a shame. That's a shame because that was going to be the obvious choice there, wasn't it? Still, Valen, you can still have credit. You can still have some. I'm throwing credit out for you. Thank you. I'm going to go back to the colour that I mixed up on my very tidy palette. Don't judge me. It does need to clean, alright? Here's the difference between these two. Yeah, it's quite a bit different, that is. It's a very elfy green. It's a very grassy, leafy green. Elfy green, you know what I mean. Don't judge me. Okay, quickly get over that colour that I've just put on. Now the problem with dry brushing, and this is why I don't use it an awful lot, is because it can leave a chalky effect. I've spoken about this loads of times, but you know, there's new viewers and stuff, and people watch this all the time, so I'm going to go over it again. The chalky effect from dry brushing comes from the fact that your paint is dry. That sounds like it's not your bad. I see you writing it in there. My bad. No, honestly, I love experimenting with different colours and schemes. That's why one of the reasons it takes me so long. Sorry, go back to what I was saying. Wow, my ADHD is kicking off today, isn't it? It is dry paint in your dry brush. That sounds obvious, but actually, dry brushing shouldn't be that dry. It's a bit of a misnomer. Yes, it is drier than what you normally paint by quite a degree. However, you should have a little bit of moisture in the bristles of your brush. And I really do mean a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my finger in my paint water. So I've got a tiny little drop on the end of my finger, and I'm just going to drop that on the page there. So now I've got like the dampest fingertip, and I'm just going to literally roll that into my bristles. That's enough moisture. What that's going to do is it's going to help just stop the paint drying and adhering to the bristles, and it's really important for the flow and the transference of paint from bristle to model. Otherwise what happens is you get a bit of paint that dries on there and it goes rigid. You get another bit of paint that goes on that type of paint and that dries and gets rigid, and it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then as you're dry brushing, that comes off and goes onto your model, and you now have a large amount of texture. Now it's on a microscopic scale, it doesn't take long to build up, you get a chalky effect. So a little bit of moisture, and it needs to be a little bit, otherwise you're going to paint and smear, but it will really help the flow and the transference of paint, and it will make your dry brushing effect smooth and creamy, and you will probably need like a little bit of practice for a few minutes just because it's a little bit different than what you might be used to. But trust me, when I heard it I was like, yeah, whatever. I gave it a go. I was like, oh no, right, that's actually really useful, thanks. Now there is a little bit of chipped off paint here. I'm gonna ignore it. I'll paint it out later. Now when Kez lent me her proper nice dry brushes, it came with this, which is like a little touchpad. Inside is like a little sponge with water in it, a tiny amount of water, but the idea is that you can go back, dab it in, come back, and then carry on, rather than me dropping paint on the paper or on my fingertips and whatever. So yeah, there's lots of different methods to having a damp dry brush. If that concept is new to you and you want to go and check that sort of stuff out, go onto YouTube. You're already on YouTube, you know what I mean. Go and look, search for Artis Opus, ARTIS, second word OPUS, Artis Opus, because it's the brand that brush comes from, or that type of brushes comes from. They do other types as well, but there's a guy who does demonstrations. He's very talented at dry brushing and other stuff as well, and he really shows you how to get the most out of your dry brushes. Incredible results. Not always my cup of tea, but you still got to admit that it's very, very good. And I'm not going to say it's quick either, because that's a bit of a lie. Like, you can sure get some quick and easy effects out of it, especially if you're horde army painting like I like to do with Tyranids when I go to my Warhammer stuff. Like, dry brushing has its place, but like, I've seen him do like models just by dry brushing the whole thing, and that takes a long time to do, but it's wonderful. Like, it's beautiful effects. This one's not as dark as I'd like on the back of the engine bay here, so later on I am going to put more sludgy wash on him. Sludgy wash, you heard. Right. Just gonna get the dry brush in the front. What's this little bit in here called? This is normally like the glasses on a tank. If I get a normal tank, Sherman, it's the glasses, the front armour is the glasses, the leany bit, the slopey bit on the front. But this is like, it's a letterbox. It's like a pillbox, isn't it? Does it even have a glasses? Is it called a glasses? It's not, is it? Right, let's pick up that gun a little bit. Okay, cool. Do you know what? I'm done. Whatever you paint always looks good, says Dave. All right, mate. How much do you want for that? Thank you very much. Very kind of you. I'm just going to pick up that bit of paint there because it's going to take ages to dry otherwise. I'm done with my dry brushing. Going to clean up my dry brush. That was a good choice brush to use, to be fair. I probably should put a little label on it or something. This dry brush for little tanks. I'm going to get out some of my other little 50mm tanks in a little bit of the show, and I'll show you the general success and progress I've had over the years of painting them. It's only been a few years, but yeah, my Tiger 1 is the best one I've ever done, and it just came out by accident, and it's awful when you do that because you know that you're going to struggle trying to get back, right? Nice, says Valen. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. There's the other one I did. Look. Do you know what? They look cool, right? On a table like that. I'm going to put some other bits and details on them. I'm going to pick out a few other bits on there. They've got some like little tools on the back, little shovels. So there's a little bit of silver I could do on there, but I don't want it to stand out. I don't want it to go, hey, shovels, like the lights on the back. So I'm going to be very careful how I do that. But otherwise, I mean, I've seen a Churchill in front of my face, and there's not a lot on them. So you're tempted to go crazy and start picking up details that aren't details to pick out. Do you know what I mean? Like I could go around and just start painting random bits, but that's not what you should do. What I am going to do is I'm going to see the tow cable on the side. I'm going to pick that out in silver, and all the wheels along here. I might be biting off more than I can chew, but I'm going to paint them black, but not any black, because tyres ain't black, especially old tyres or tyres from a long time ago. They're grey, very very dark grey, and I've got Corvus black from Citadel. One of the times I do use Citadel on my tanks. It's a really good black. It's like a really dark grey. And this is really good for a cheap, quick go-to paint to get your wheels done. If you paint black for your tyres, they stand out so much. Just don't do it. That's my opinion. Just don't do it, man. Paint colours, your tyres, whatever colour you want, though. Next time you're mixing, try a light brown or a tan in your green. Mix a lighter but warmer colour. Worth a try. Okay. Wish I knew that a minute ago. Alright, well, I'm done now. But yeah, do you know what? That sounds good to me. Thing is, I'm probably going to have to repaint this Firefly because, like I said earlier, it doesn't have the extended turret. So I'm probably going to have to paint them again anyway. Bummer, but whatever. Cool. Right. Take a breather, Danny. What are we going to do next? Look, we're already 45 minutes in. What have I done? Dry brush 2 tanks. See what I mean? How we suffer for our art. Right, I can move that piece of paper away. Let's just get rid of that. Go over there. Here we go. So, here's my 2 Churchills. What I'm going to do now, I'm really keen to paint their tracks, and I'm going to try and make this as quick as I can. Aided by the fact that they're flat top casemates. I have a couple of browns that I really like to use for this. What I'm going to do on these ones is my standard go-to Vallejo Game Air Charred Brown. It's just a really nice colour, and it works for many things. I use it for rust, I use it for tracks, and let's be honest, most of the brown on tracks is rust anyway. It's a good mud colour, it's obviously good burnt things colour, you know, burnt things. Haven't used it for a little while, so got to give it a shake. And I'm not one of those people that goes crazy about mixing my paints, but they do sell. They do sell. Cool. And because it's been a while, we know what's happening. Here it comes. Say it with me now. Waz it. I hope you say it with me. There's a delay. I know you're not saying it with me. I'm entertaining myself, not you. There we go. Cool. It's a nice colour. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some in the palette on the side over here. I'm going to get one of my nice brushes, and I'm just going to be steady painted, but I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to be delicate with it. So I've got my Kalinsky number 2. Nice and supple there. Cool. And I'm not going to water it down because it's an airbrush paint. It's watery enough. So I'm just going to go track by track. Because it's quite a dark brown, it doesn't stand out. It's not in your face. It's it blends in with all the colours, the greens and the oranges, the yellows, the greys. It's a good all-rounder. And when I'm painting larger scales, 1/35 for example, I'll do a lot more I put a lot more effort into the tracks, but for this scale, even for 28mm flight bolt action, this is fine. Stop! Churchills did not have tyres. Steel wheels by the look of them. I thought I saw some research material the other day, and they had tyres. That's an interesting thing. Okay, cool. Do you know what? I will not paint tyres on them yet. That will save me a lot of hassle, so thanks for that. I'll see if I can find some... I've got a couple of books down beside me, and in the break, because we'll have a little intermission in a minute, I'll see if I can pull those up and see what I find. Anyone can Google it for me, I'd be well impressed. That'd be brilliant, thank you. Because if I painted them and then realise I need to go back again, I wouldn't be able to leave it, I'd have to go back. Dave's saying, wazzer. I can't believe that has been the motto, that is what people have held on to, myself included. What did I sign off with last week? Stay classy. Who says that? It's like Anchorman. Stay classy. I like this show to be really kind of like raw and rough, because it's just a club, right? It's not a $1 million show or anything like that. It is what it is. It's a bunch of people getting together, having a laugh and painting the stuff together, right? Like you would do if you all got together in a room. It's just some people having a chat. So I don't like being rigid and having a script, although lately I've been thinking I should really start one, so that I could at least follow something, because every time I open my mouth I don't know what's going to come out. It's dangerous. Stay classy. Oh, I was crying. I've been doing this show now for like 2.5 years. I've not once said stay classy. Stay safe, be kind, that's what I say. Dave's asking, do they have a Churchill at Bovington? Yes, they do. It's not the gun carrier like what I've got here, but it's a crocodile, which is the flamethrower one. So it's towing behind it a pod with fuel in it. And I think that's a casemate. It doesn't have a turret because, well, it would have to have like a gas line, and you don't want to be spinning that around, do you? So yes, it still has the same tracks on it. But steel wheels in Germany were used for several different reasons, and this is what I was talking about earlier on about researching, because I'm painting models. I went off on a whole little hyper focus thing, learning all about steel road wheels. Some tanks in the later part of the war had them, the German tanks had them because they were finding it difficult to manufacture rubber, because they were using up all their rubber supplies essentially. So they just started making metal ones, but also you'll find them on some of the later smaller tanks, it could be any tank, but things like the Panzer IV, where they had like really big guns, so they started having extended range barrels on them. But the weight that length gives you out at a distance away from the main body of the tank applies a downward force, and it chews through your tyres much quicker. So the way they got away from that was by changing the front two road wheels out with steel wheels. Crazy, isn't it? Some of the King Tiger's road wheels were steel as well, just because it weighed the same as a small country. So he said he sent me a picture. Let's have a little look. Tapping on my digital interface here. I've put a little screen protector on my phone because I'm clumsy. It doesn't read my fingerprint so well. Having a look. Opening a link. Let's have a little look at that. Feel free to flood Easy 8 Facebook page with pictures of Churchills as well. If you're new and you want to share pictures of what it is that you're working on Facebook, Facebook does this weird thing now where for some reason you can't just share them directly to the Facebook page, but you can find this week's listing where there's a link to the show on YouTube, and you can put your photos in the comments, which is what everybody else does now. So if you want to, you can do that, or share whatever pictures you want, like Churchill's. Oh, would you look at that? Those definitely ain't tyres, are they? That's a lot of little wheels and a lot of springs. Would not to get my finger caught in there. Thank you very much. I totally would have painted those as tyres. Churchill's, as I said last week, is one of those tanks that I don't know a lot about, because I've always found them to be a bit weird, and I've never really thought that they were very tank-like. I suppose to me, like the epitome of a tank, or the basic thing of a tank in my head, is a Sherman, because of popular media when I was growing up, films and the such. I had a lot of Shermans, didn't it? Always Shermans, Kelly's Heroes and stuff like that. It's always Shermans. And it's a very different appearance from a Churchill. Now these tracks are going very, very quickly, which is great. Still very nervous about handling them, because I don't want all the paint to rub off my fingers. And it makes you nervous that you're going to rub all the paint off, so then your fingers start sweating. Could do the edges here as well. Just ran out of paint in the palette, so I'm just going to pop him down for a second. Looking better already, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, they really don't, do they? Oh, Kez, just wasted 2 custom decals and they're not cheap. No, custom decals are not cheap. What did you do? Tell me all about it. Can we help recover them for you? How we suffer for our art. That must be really annoying, mate. I'm really sorry. Turn the tank around. I'm going to do the outside edges on this side of tracks as well. Jeff says Germans first saw them at Dieppe and thought that we were using old out-of-date tanks and saw them as no threat. They were a bit underpowered and the gearbox broke a lot. That's the Churchill. That's rubbish. If I remember right, my granddad, if anyone's new watching this now or later, Jeff is my dad. Hi Dad. So my granddad, who I used to call Grampy, fought at Dieppe, was there presently. He says he remembers the Churchills being on the beach and that they were digging into the shingle beaches. The tracks were just digging in and they couldn't move anywhere. They were just sitting ducks. The follies of war. Yeah, I don't know much about Churchills. I don't know. Did they, despite their lack of firepower comparatively, did they perform well? Were they useful? I know that we started developing other tanks. There's a part of me that says probably not really. I know that seems like a bit of a waste of time because the tank is going to spend most of its time down this way and not up this way. But it's a peace of mind thing, right? I know that they're done. I want to get the edges painted because it'll stand out a little bit. I'll highlight them a little so that they do stand out a bit more because the whole tank is quite dark. I can run like a little bit of stain into the track as well to show the details off. But again, you're not really going to see an awful lot. There are some tanks that have quite a bit of exposed track on the top. For example, the Char B has quite a bit of exposed track on the top, so you can see there. And tigers as well. Tigers and panthers do as well, just a little bit. But not these. So I'm not that fussed. I just wanted a little bit of extra colour on there, which is why I was really kind of spending some time on the sides. And where you can see into the top just in there, I'm going to come back in a minute and I'm going to paint some in there as well. And then I'm going to go straight onto tow cables. And unless anybody else can think of anything else to paint on them, I'm probably going to call it, and then I'm going to just go ahead and varnish at that point. And then any extra details will be decals, which I haven't ordered yet, but I'm going to get some through Flames of War. Kez is saying, sadly, no, I tried. I was putting them on and they folded up. That is so awkward. I know exactly what you're talking about. There are ways of combating that, but once they're done, they're done. And that's a shame. So I'm sorry about that. The best thing to do, I mean, as growing up playing Warhammer and things, we would often, what I used to do is get like a little dish or a pallet or something, cut the decal out, and then pop them in the water and let it float to the surface of the water, and then you'd use your brush or tweezers, lift them out and then pop them onto the thing. The easiest way to get away from that is, imagine this piece of tissue paper is the cutout, is soak that in water, don't leave it so long that it floats to the surface, leave it in there for a couple of minutes, and then gently use your brush to brush it out to the surface. If you're doing that, then you've done everything you need to do. It's annoying, isn't it? Yeah, sorry, man. Well, if there's anything that you think that I can do to help you out, then I will do my best. But yes, soz. Do you have more? Is there spares, or is that everything that you had, like a specific amount? And like you say, they're not cheap, are they? Specially made ones. Anyway, look, we're going to go for a quick break, so you don't have to listen to my voice for the entire 2 hours that you're going to be here. So for 10 minutes, we're going to disappear. I might go and freshen up this cup of tea because it is mostly made of dust and really stringent things. It's horrible. Kes says, yeah, I use the paper towel the way these things happen. Yeah, they do. Sorry, mate. Whatever you do, go change paint water. Go do this. Make it happen. See you in 10. Bye-bye. Welcome back. Hope you had a good and productive little break. I did. I went and replaced my tea and didn't fill the kettle up, so I've got half a cup of tea, but at least it's the right colour. Anyway, I also took the time to carry on painting some tracks, so I've painted both the other tracks on the other tank as well. Still need to do the edges. Might revisit the first one just to give it another coat, but it looks like it's all good. And then I'm going to find little highlight colours, just the brighter brown, just to quickly go over, just to make sure that they stand out from the quite dark green that's on those tanks. Then I'm looking at some silvers, and then a varnish, and I might be able to call a project done on air. That'll be nice, right? Anyway, before we go any further, just wanted to say, been harping on about this for what feels like a lifetime now. Salute 50 is a show coming up in April the 22nd. It is the largest games show in Europe. I thought it was just the country, but no, it is Europe. It's normally on over a weekend, but it's on for just one day this year. It's I suppose still recovering from the pandemic, but it's still a really big event to go to. It is the one. There's loads of stuff going on. It's going to be at the London XL Centre, and I'm going, as are loads of people from the community. And we've been talking about it for ages, and I'm just trying to make sure that everybody who comes on to the show, who hasn't heard me say about it before, come along. It'll be great. We can all meet up. We can go for a drink. We can go and be nerds together and whatever. And it's always nice to meet people from the Easy 8 community and then kind of get excited and expand the community because we all have the same passion. And it's just nice to meet people. So there's a bunch of us that live in the same sort of area. We're going to go up by train and we're going to stay a night over on the Friday, and then the show is on the Saturday. Don't know why I'm waving my hand around a lot, but I'm very excited to go, basically. So if you want to be a part of the Easy 8 road trip experience, give us a shout. Or you can contact me through here on YouTube by just kind of putting some things down there in the comments. I read everything all the time. You can hit me up on Facebook. Did I point to the right one? I did. You can also talk to me on Discord at the Easy 8 After Party, where I talk to people all the time for great lengths of time. You're welcome to go. You have a video chat. You can just do audio, or you can just type if you want to, whatever you like. Or just, I don't know, send out a pigeon. Maybe I'll find out. Too right. Time to enjoy ourselves, says Dave. Yeah, absolutely. Just going to go away. Just have a couple of beers. I'm getting a bit old. I can't party. Don't want to party. But we're going to go to the pub and we're going to stay there overnight, basically. So that's Salute 50, April the 22nd. Tickets are still on sale, but they are running out. We've probably got some time. They're £12. They're really affordable, and it's going to be a blast. So come along. It'll be great. There were people that are already going, and we're going to meet up with them as well because we want to. Yeah, they want to too. We're not forcing that on them. That should disclaimer. We're not forcing ourselves on the nerd community. The other thing that's going to happen very, very soon, even sooner than that, is Bovington Tank Museum. We've been a couple of times as an Easy 8 community, and we're going again. And this time it wasn't me that organised it or said when we're going. It was you guys. You're going, and you want me to come along and to kind of meet up with everybody else. So there's a whole contingent of us going to the Bovington Tank Museum. Fortunately for me, it's very close, well, within a couple of hours. But if you live further up country, don't feel that you can't come. If you want to come along to that, we're going to be going on the, I'm going to hopefully get this date right, the 25th of March. It's the Saturday of that weekend. And I've got my tickets right here. I actually got a whole bunch of tickets because we've been a couple of times before, and they're annual passes. So when you buy them, you can go anytime for the next year for free. And they're quite affordable. I can't remember how much they are, but the last time we went I booked it on a day where you can't just roll up with your annual pass, so I had to buy everybody a brand new ticket because I had organised that one. Because the joke is we wanted to go on a quiet day because we've always been on a busy day for like there's a big thing going on. So I organised a specific date where it was quiet, and we got there and it was Tiger Day. They have 2 Tiger Days a year where they get the tiger out, and yeah, I was like, well, this makes no sense. You can't use your annual pass to go on Tiger Day. It's just the thing. You have to buy a ticket to go to Tiger Day, and then that becomes an annual pass, not the other way around. I was like, well, this is ridiculous. What's happened here? Turns out it was the Queen's. I think it was the Queen's funeral. So they changed their dates around. So I had to buy everyone tickets. So got a load of tickets, and we're all going again. And if you want to go to Bovington Tank Museum, just give us a shout. Again, either here in the comment section of YouTube, over there, at Facebook, or Discord if you want to, or carrier pigeon, whatever other ways you want to get it. Or if you know someone in the community that's already going, talk to them, and we'll arrange to meet up, and it'll be a wicked day out. And clearly we're going to start looking at Churchills. That's one of the things we're going to be looking at. I just like going. It's just nice, and it means that my partner can get away from me for the day. So yeah, Tank Museum, Salute 50, let's go. And to any other places that you think that the Easy 8 community can go, and wherever else in the world would benefit from having the Easy 8 community and me. Anyway, if you like what we do here, please do consider subscribing. Such a simple gesture and small gesture on your part. It means the world to me. So please, if you like what we do and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Don't smash it, just once. Boop, like that. That's all you got to do. All right. Share the word. Get Easy 8 out there. Tell a friend, because people don't find out unless we talk about it. And I talk about it all the time. So should you. Anyway, it's getting cheesy now. To the workbench. Shut up, Danny. Plugging my own show. Such a narcissist. Right, so that's the first one that I've done. You can see that the tracks are all brown now. This is the one I've just done here. Needs a little bit more on him. But we're making progress. We're making tracks. I'm actually laughing at my own pun. It's lucky that I'm charming, because no one would come and watch my show. Yes, I defined myself as charming. How are your projects going on this evening anyway? If you're working on something today, there's some trenches over at Jeff's workshop. Clearly there's been some magnetising, but that's all been done over at Kez's workshop. I hope that your decals are going better now. I just read as we went into the intermission there that you said you do have quite a few of them, so hey, at least you got some spares, right? Dave, are you painting anything this evening? Mike, how's the tavern going? Because I know that's what you're going to be working on, right? Okay, so that's the underside of these tracks done. Now I'm just going to go down the side here. Just picking out the edges. A quick shot to check to make sure that I'm not out of shot. One of the things that's on my mind is as I'm holding these, they've got... it feels like I'm just pulling the paint off with my fingers. My hands are a little bit sweaty from holding them. Just a tiny amount, you know, that kind of makes you just sort of nervous. And I know that as I put this down, there's going to be like a little bit of silver showing out on a tiny little sticky out rivet or something. Or the corner of one of the exhausts or something like that. So when it's all said and done, I'll give them a bit of a varnish. I'll just go over the whole model with a quick check basically and see where those little spots are, and I'll come in with the original green base color, and I'll just basically just touch up that area to stop that silver showing through. That green will probably stand out quite a bit, so I could dull it down with a little spot of Agrax or even a bit of this brown, but it's way better than the silver poking up like on the corner there. Look, see that bit sticking out? If I just went over that now with a little bit of brown, it just kills it, doesn't it? Just you can't see it anymore. Brilliant. Decals all applied now, waiting for them to dry, and then we'll varnish them. Doesn't take long for them to dry. Give them a little blast with your hairdryer if you wanted to. Yeah, then go over with your varnish. I can see that Mike's asking if you use Microsol and Microset. I do. I've got them in the drawer if you want to see what they are. I know we spoke about those two chemicals before, Kes, so I'm going to guess that you probably are using them, or at least know of them. They are invaluable to the modeler who uses decals. They allow you to create a surface that's appropriate for them to go on. It softens them down. It allows them to fold and crease and fall into lines and things, and then another chemical like sets it all in place and turns them pretty impervious to damage. You can still rub them off, so you've got to be careful. But then varnish over the top of them. And the best thing about it is that when they soften down, they thin down. A couple of layers of varnish over the top, and you'll never even know that it was a decal. Because often you can see the shape where you cut around, can't you? It's absolutely brilliant set of chemicals. I spilled one of mine a little while ago. Smells like vinegar and salt. Not in a nice way either. Like that kind of smell you get from silicone. Like silicone sealant. It's a weird smell. But they're really... You use such a small amount, and even though they're small bottles, it's enough to last you a lifetime, even if you do spill it. So they cost like a pound or something. Okay. Tiny little bits of silver starting to show on the sides there. I hate working with metal, I really do. Do you know what? I'm actually really happy with that as a set of tracks. Cool. Wash my brush out, and I'm going to just find myself a slightly lighter brown, and then I'm going to dry brush them. Oh, I'm speeding along now. Get out that little dry brush from earlier. Cool. Let's find me a lighter brown. I'm just taking a little look now. I've got earth colour. That looks like really weird, but that's just because it's separated. So give it a shake. There we go. It's a bit better already, isn't it? I'm just going to have a little look. Let's see some other comments going in. I've missed quite a few. You guys are so chatty lately. Oh dear, tank part jokes. Yeah. Not tonight. I've been cooking teasers, Dave. So, yeah, no modelling for you. That's absolutely fine. Cool. Sometimes you just got to look after yourself, haven't you? Working on the tavern and a house, says Mike. No real plan, such only style ideas I've picked up on Pinterest. Just adding cardboard and sticks as I build up with. Do you know what? I like that. It's a freeing thing, isn't it? It's kind of like, this is the kind of thing that I'm thinking of, and then just going for it and just seeing where it goes. Waz. Wait for it. Don't jump ahead. Come on. First story is covered in bricks, now working on the wooden frameworks for the second floor. Fantastic. Oh, you are using those chemicals, says Kes. Brilliant. Your allied tanks would look nice with a bit of stowage. Debris of war, do it at 15mm. You're absolutely right, especially on the Shermans. It really suits them, doesn't it? Anyway, here we go. Are you ready? I've lost my mouse, so I can't click the button. Waz! Don't sing it. What's wrong with you? Okay, this brown is much lighter, so I've got to be really careful with how much I apply here. I can get rid of Wazomatic now, don't need that. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to drop it in where the other brown was. Even though it's mostly gone, it might just darken it down a bit. I could, I suppose, if I wanted to. Here's a little cheeky little trick. It's on the side of the nozzle there where it's kind of like flown over the edge. So I can just kind of mop that up, look, and it'll put a little bit of brown in my bristles, so that when I go to mix it in, it's darkened it down a bit. Yeah, that's quite nice, that. Well done me. What I'm going to do is just going to use my tissue here. Just literally just brushing off the tissue. Okay, back to the first one here. Might want to get a smaller brush for this actually, because it might be a bit big. There's a danger of me going on the greens that I've painted. Yeah, I'm going to do that. That is a nice brush to use, but it is just a little bit on the big side. So I've got various brushes to use here. Which one is appropriate? Still a little bit on the big side, isn't it? Okay, cool. Got a whole load of like junky old brushes just around the corner here. Let's have a little look. This is my little bag of spare cheap brushes, I think. Jeff gave me. Okay, there's a couple of glue brushes that I use there for gluing things. Okay, that's an old brush. That one there will probably be good. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at these two. So I've got here an old Citadel base brush. It's a little bit frayed. I don't really use it for anything anymore. So this one could be pretty good. I've also got this old Daler Rowney brush, flat shader with a really sort of flat edge, but it's really quite small. So if I just dip that into the paint in there, I'll just wipe that off on the tissue. Jeff says, can you get buckets in 15mm? Every tank needs one. New business idea. Yeah, that's a really good idea, that actually. I could probably make one out of something. Just need to hang it off the back, right? Right, every good tank deserves a bucket. That's a bit easier to control. If this was a larger build, I'd also be putting silver or like gunmetal colours into the tracks, because where the grip parts of the track touch roads and things, it polishes them down to exposed steel, but it will look naff on a tiny model. So it's just one of those little examples of less is more on a little model. Yeah, and also because this model has metal tracks, it'll always make me think that it's rubbed off. So I'm just not going to bother, which is actually a bit of a shame, really. I wish I was good enough to make that look good. But also the problem with metal models, and I might be offending a lot of people by saying this, but they're never really that well molded. The sculpts are never really that good. They're not as good as plastic. Probably a bit too highlighty there. I'm going to go over a little bit of Agrax in a minute. Actually, just using my hands now to wipe off most of this paint. This brush struggles to absorb a lot of it because it's got quite a tight form of bristles on there. So literally, you can see how quick I am being. I'm not really spending any time at all doing this. It's literally just to bring a little bit of colour to this area of the tank, just so they stand out a little bit. You're not even going to see them. It's crazy. I don't even know why I'm doing it. Okay, cool. Do you know what? I'm done. I'm done with tracks. Heck to it. Wash this brush out. Am I ever going to use it again? Who knows? Probably, because I'm going to do more tanks in the future. It's good for doing little tracks. Right, let's pop you guys over there. Cool. Oh, I just tore my tissue. Oh. So excitable today. Right, silver. Time to do some bits on them, the bits that stick out on them. Let's put my browns away. Don't need these anymore. Okay, where is my silver paint? There it is. I like to use Chainmail by Vallejo. I have gunmetal, and I have, also just silver, but silver's really bright, and gunmetal's not. I don't like it. It's not a good colour for this anyway. I do have, if you've seen episodes and episodes ago, like the true metal colour. That's it'll be lost, and it has to go through an airbrush anyway, so I'd have to spray it. I get spray it everywhere. I've actually lost the paint here somewhere. It's here somewhere. There it is. Like the proper metal colours, it's beautiful. But on anything that isn't a large model, anything smaller than a 1/35 tank or a Warhammer 40,000 Imperial Knight, it's lost. I've tried doing it on Skitari. Too much. It looks like cheap chrome. So yeah, so don't use it. Well, unless you're better than me, obviously. So I'm just going to give it a good old shake. Not going to worry about mixing this one too much because it's metallic. It's actually just better at that. Silver gets everywhere. hate working with metallics. It's actually bunged up, so I've actually got to try and remove that. I've got some old crappy tweezers here somewhere. I do. That is the correct answer. Where they are is another thing. I feel completely unprepared today. Here we go. They're just hidden under some other tools. So, some tweezers. Let's move those out of the way, because we know what's going to happen if I don't, right? All that is like a dry skin thing that's just congealed over the top, so I'll just dunk that somewhere over there. There we go, and that should... Looks like it's blocked up in the pipe in there as well. Oh my god, this is gonna go... Oh my goodness. Oh, that nearly went all over me. Crazy. Could you imagine how cross I would have been if that had happened? And it would have been on the internet forever and ever. And I'm not in the habit of deleting videos, so yeah. Right, let's put that over there because it's clearly got silver paint all over it. Right, I've got a little bit of my palette. Good, cool, right. I'm gonna go to my little teeny tiny brush, not a tiny brush. This is my Raphael Kalinsky Zero. Now I was having problems with this brush a little while ago, or was it my other one, where the bristles were separated. I think that was my middle one. So I should be able to maintain a really fine point on here. Now I think about it, the one that was splitting all the time was actually my number one. Here we go. So, the child in me says, oh, paint all these details, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to paint the little shovel down here. Already it stands out far too much, so I'm going to come in with some Agrax Earthshade and do like a grime effect over the top of it. But I also want to paint the staves, that's the handles of the shovels, just so it's not these little silver bits down here. One of my constant concerns about painting models is if you're trying to paint it realistically, if you get it right sometimes it just looks like you've painted it badly, but actually sometimes things were painted badly, or that's how it looked, and you painted it really accurately, but it looks like that you haven't, that you're not a good painter, and that's the way it's come out. So this was a thing when I was painting 28mm Shermans, is I painted all the staves of all the tools on the sides bright wood. But actually, commonly, they were either really dark wood, or they were painted the same colour as the tank to hide them. But it looks like that you haven't painted them. It looks like you just kind of avoid it, like lazy painting, do you know what I mean? And that doesn't sit well with me. There's some details and things over here that are all just parts of the top of the engine bay, their hinges and clasps and whatever, and I could paint them to make them look like they're worn, but it's just there's no point. I'm not going to bother. What I am going to do is paint this tow cable all the way along the side here, if you see that. So I'm just going to pick up the little loop on the end. Very nice, if he does say so himself. Some comments coming in. Mike says, first story's done. Yeah, no, I read that one. Cool. Oh no, I read all of this. Mike says, would the video have lost its family-friendly rating? Yeah, absolutely. You damn straight it would. Easy 8 X-rated show. Okay, that's for Discord. I have a mouth like a sailor. I have the very wonderful ability to be able to turn that off. I work with children, man. So while the YouTube show is friendly, if you come over to Discord, it's not like I'm swearing all the time. It's just that I don't watch my P's and Q's so much. And if that had happened on Discord, it probably would have been, yeah, some choicey words. Because I like the painting club to be a family-friendly thing. You know, Discord is not the painting club anymore. It's just people going over and having a chit chat and stuff. And I will watch my P's and Q's because it's polite. It's a good thing to do. But Easy ain't the show. It's it's a painting club. You should be able to bring your sons and your daughters or your friends or your cousins and your granny or whatever without fear of what it is that I'm gonna say. Or what anyone's gonna say. Yeah, I've had people in the live chat sometimes use some unsavoury things. Well, not unsavoury things, they're sharing links to unsavoury places. If you see links like that going in the live chat, don't do it, man. Okay, there's a tow cable done. That was done fast, wasn't it? Yeah, God, it's like I'm a pro. Another tow cable here. It's like he's expecting it to happen. Let's send that one out with a couple of tow cables. Why? Oh, no reason. Is it going to break down? No. It'll be fine. It's for towing out other tanks, obviously. Now, like I said earlier on, I'm not going to be able to do what Kez is doing today. I'm not going to be able to get those decals on there. I don't have them. I will get some eventually when I remember. I'm going to go to Flames of War because they've got loads of things, and I don't want to go crazy with all the decals. You know, I can start putting all the different campaign symbols and everything on them, and frankly, as a patriot as I could possibly be, the British had a habit of having some really weird, complicated, like combinations of images and iconography and whatever. It was a bit unnecessary. I'm just going to put on a couple here and there, like maybe a triangle or something, or a circle and things, and have my own little way of identifying them on the board. All the yellow triangles are in a squadron, all the red circles are in a squadron. Like on my Allied stuff, I'll have just the Allied star, like the US stuff, sorry. I'll have the Allied star. Maybe on like the Shermans have got their little tank numbers on them. That's all they need, right? That's all you need to have on them. And then the German stuff can have like a little tank number again, I suppose. And the Iron Cross, or the Balkan, is it called the Balkan Cross, I think? But you know what I mean by the Iron Cross. So like these Shermans here, wrong Sherman. The Sherman here has his little tank number on the side. And then I can put like a little Allied star on him. And that's all you need, right? You don't need anything else. So yeah. Okay, to this one. Little shovels on the back. What's the time? 22. I'm going to finish them. I feel pretty good about myself. Okay, there's them shovels. I'm going to do a little bit of brightwood on them in a minute. Just making my eyes focus. You can tell I'm concentrating again because I'm not talking. Not going crazy with this as well. All I'm doing is basically it's just like edge highlighting more than anything. Other side. Try and desperately to not pull the paint off of my fingers. Last little bit of this, and then it's onto the shovel handles, varnish, and done. You notice there's little dots as well that I'm leaving unpainted. I'm leaving them green. That's because they're like the little clasps, or whatever you want to call them, that hold the tow cable in place. So they would not be the silver, they would be painted the body of the tank, because they're attached to the tank. Cool, tow cables are done. Oh, don't drop him now. Don't drop him now. Cool. Wash that brush out. I want to get all that silver out of that brush because silver's a nightmare. I've actually got a proper little cleaner that I'm going to clean my brushes out with later. Lovely. Right. Where am I going to next? Wood colours. Wood colours. One of my favourite tricks with a wood colour is to use a off-white colour like Screaming Skull, and then dab a little bit of Seraphim Sepia shade, which I've lost here. Doesn't matter because I'm not going to use it, because the things that I'm going to be painting are probably so small that if I did that as a technique it would be lost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the earth colour that I used as a highlight for the tracks. I say highlight, you can barely see it, just kind of made them a little bit brighter. Because this is a good colour for wood at this scale. It says trying to show off a tiny little dot on his thumb, but yeah, whatevs. Let's put this guy over here, let that dry a little bit more. It's such a small detail. The colour is a perfect colour to use. It probably wasn't even painted this colour, or wasn't even this colour, it was probably painted darker. But maybe, you know, it's had new staves put on. They weren't painted along with the tank, but this is a little bit of detail. It goes a long way. There we go. Simple, simple. Only I know it. Only, well, and you guys because you watched it, but it's just, I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't, you know? Okay. This is it. This is the last little bit of paint to go on. Yeah, I feel good. Did it. I finished them on air. That's a nice feeling. Okay, now I'm going to varnish them, so I'm just going to do it with the airbrush. It's the easiest, quickest way to do it. Just put my paintbrushes back over here. I'm hoping that I cleaned my airbrush out properly last time. While they're just kind of drying a little before I do that, I'm just going to turn the compressor on. So if you can hear that in the background, I'm sorry. Here's a little book that I found during the intermission, the Tank Spotter's Guide. I picked this up off the counter the last time I went to the Tank Museum. Actually, the first time I went there. It's a really good book by Osprey, not Offspray. And it's just got like, a tank a page, and sometimes they've gone a little bit more. But on Tank 54, on page 54 is... the Churchill infantry tank. Yeah. It's got a picture of it. It's got like the big shield on the front for I don't really know why. Clearing mines maybe. It shows like it's camouflage. They're all drawn. They're not photos, but they are really good drawings. It's got like ideas, examples of camouflage and flags and things like that. Little icon on the front there looks like a map of Africa or a bunch of grapes. I'm not entirely sure, but it's got its stowage bags on the side, like Jeff was saying earlier on. Yeah, and you can see there clearly no tyres. If I flip over, here's another colour scheme. So this is Tunisia colours. The other one there was El Alamein. Churchill Mark III of King Force. Don't know what King Force was. Perhaps it was a regiment. I don't pretend to know. And then it goes into the KV-1s for a minute, and then it goes to the Churchill Crocodile Flamethrower. Really, really cool. And you can see there that the colour scheme is very, very different. Actually, it looks more reminiscent of what's over at Bovington. That one there says the Canadian Army Tank Regiment Dieppe. So yeah, 19th of August 1942, and if you look very carefully, that is an artist's rendition of it digging into the shingle. Cool, huh? Don't know what this is on the back there. Maybe that's an antenna of some sort. Crazy. It's got its hatch open. It's not got the big tow thing on the back of it. It looks like that it's got a fuel tank on the back just here. The one at Bovington's actually towing a trailer with a fuel tank on the back. It's got this little hatch open on the side, so maybe the crew have bailed on this one. Cool, right? Yeah, the colours aren't as dark as what I've got here or what's over at Bovington Museum. You should go and have a look. They're wonderful tanks down there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get my big piece of paper over here. Pop them on top of that, and hopefully the airbrush is ready to rock and roll. It's flowing. Right, so where is my varnish? Varnish. Here we go, cool. Matte varnish. Doesn't need much of a shake, I just like to wake it up a little bit. Oh, I've got a bubble going down the side of the tube. Let's just, there we go, pour that in there. And I'm going to apply liberally. There we go. I'm going to put a drop of thinner in, because this stuff can be quite thick and gacky. 2 drops of thinner. Feeling frivolous. And I'll get my mixing brush and I'll just kind of mix that up inside the hopper in there. Because if anything's going to plug up and clog my airbrush, it's varnish. Now I know acrylic paint is all like plasticky resin based stuff anyway. This stuff is like liquid resin. It's nasty to the inside of the airbrush. Yeah, and it dries like super glue. Right, nice and thin. Rinse that off. Okay, one at a time then, please. Do got some spattery bits coming out, so there might be a slight clog inside, but it is spraying. So I'm just preparing myself. I've got a little bud here somewhere. Let's get a little cotton bud out, because cotton buds are great for just cleaning the end of the nozzle if it starts building up there. There we go. And you always, every now and again, you see me just kind of do like a couple of little blasts off the side. That is, if there is a little bit of build up on the needle, it just kind of forces it off without it kind of spattering too much over my model. Which it is doing, but less, because I've kind of got a little control measure in place. Hit it with some cold air. It really does help to dry the layer that you just kind of sprayed down. Enough for me to at least pick it up with my fingertips and just move him to the side. Come back in with the next one. Here we go. Jeff says, sent you a video the other day of the Hellcat as you have one. Very interesting. First crews refused to take them and would not hand over their M10s. What? I haven't seen that video yet. You sent it to me. I've just been busy at work, but after the show it's one of the first things I'm going to do. And do you know what? I haven't made the Hellcat yet. Perhaps what I'll do is in another episode I'll do up my two Chappies and my Hellcat as a part of my American force, because I get to use the olive drab. It's just a nice colour. Chasing some droplets there that kind of just spattered over the tank. If I hit them with the air, it kind of moves them around and thins them out and dries them. Bit of build up on the old needle. Let's give that a bit of a clean. There we go. Just, yeah, developing a bit of a skin on the needle there, so I can just kind of drag that away. And I use bamboo or wooden ones because plastic in the ocean, man, bad. Even Easy 8 has an environmental obligation. Look after planet Earth, because one day we won't be able to use plastics anymore. Cool, bit of air on this guy. Me to pick him up. Come back to the first one, and I'm going to pop him on his head, and you can see that there's metal showing through already. That's how delicate the paint is on top of metal. I just really struggle with metal models. Anyway, we're getting there. We're getting there. Still got a little bit of varnish in there. We are coming to the end of the show, but I'm happy in my knowledge that I've actually got some models finished on this show, because it rarely happens. And even though they're not the best painted, they're not the highest detailed, it's a model and it's done. Yes, it needs its decals, but you know, I don't have them, so I'm happy to call this. Anyway, we'll lift him up. And we'll pop him down over there, enough that his little brother can come in. Pop him on his roof. No metal showing. Oh, there's a little bit of metal showing on there. Okay, well, do you know what? I can spot those in a minute, and then I'll varnish over the top of that again. Just going to sit there and hit that with a stream of cold air just for a second. They look good. Cheers. Oh, I see. Cheers. Okay, stuff is drying. Time for me to go. See you later. See y'all later. See you later, Mike. Thanks for coming along. Take care and have a good week, won't you? Look forward to hanging out at Bovington Tank Museum with you. Yeah. Bye, Mike. They look good. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. You play water tanker with me often enough. You know that they don't need to be the most heavily detailed things in the world. It's just nice to have them painted, isn't it? You know. Okay. Just another little layer on the top there, because I'm going to be handling them. And we are at the end of all the varnish. That was like the perfect amount of varnish. Okay, a little bit of cleaner, because that varnish is horrific on the inside of my airbrush. Just going to put my nozzle protector on. If I can use fine dexterity and motor skills. There we go. Here's a little trick that I like to use. Get my purge tank here, put some neat cleaner in the hopper. What I do is I just blow a little bit through, and now that I know there's some sat in the paint chamber, so I'm just going to let it sit there for a minute, and hopefully it will kind of just help erode away the stuff that's inside. Dave says, all the tanks which you've done look great. Thanks, man. You're really blowing my trumpet there. But I am really happy with these. They look really good. I'm really chuffed with them. I didn't quite match the Firefly, but it does blend, it does go in, and I probably, when I'm doing all my other British stuff, I might go back over him and do him again. But he's close, right? He's close, and I think that actually the varnishing process, I should bring him in a shot, the varnishing process has matched them in a little bit more. He does stand out. It is a different colour, it's not just the shape of it. It does stand out, but it works, right? It works, and that's the important thing. I think with this one, the filters have been applied by the washes and the grimes and the pin washing on there. It was just a different thing altogether. Compare that with the American tanks. You can see that there's a very, very different colour in here entirely. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's been a bit of an emotional journey, to say the least, because I suppose because I didn't feel that I was getting the right colours, so I was holding back, I was taking my time, I was being a little over experimental perhaps, and I was making no progress in that time. But they're done. When I get little decal markers on them, they're going to look really nice, really nice, and I'm really happy with them. So yay! Got them done. Now, what Jeff, my dad, was saying just a minute ago is I've got a whole load of tanks. You're right, I do. I've got a couple of char bees I showed you on a minute ago. They need a bit more cleaning up, I didn't realise. I've got a Sherman 75, that's a 75mm cannon on there, and I've got I've got two extra Fireflies, another one there and another one there, two different kits of different colours, but they're both unpainted. And I've got a couple more Sherman 75s, might even have another Sherman 76 somewhere along the line, so they all need to be painted up British colours. And I've also got, here we go, some Chaffies. I love Chaffies. I think they're beautiful tanks. Just look how cool he is. Now, when we went to Bovington the last time, they had one parked in the car park, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? I just think they're brilliant. They're a light tank. They're the successor to the M5 Stuart. So you had the M3 Stuart, which was very early war. They modified that. They changed the slopes on the armour and added a little bit on the front, and changed the sprocket wheel at the back. It's ever so slightly different, but you got the M3 and the M5 Stuart. They're both light tanks. Their crews loved them. They called them the Honeys. Both versions were called Honeys. And then this tank took over, and it did see a fair bit of operation at the end of the war. It's fast, it's nippy, it's got more armour. It's generally a better tank to be in than the Honey, and that's the Chaffee. And I've got 2 of them, and I've also got the Hellcat. So what I'll do, hopefully over the next few days, is get those made up, and I'll do the next week's show. I know I wanted to do a lot of Warhammer stuff this year, but it's nice to break it up with a little bit of historical stuff. I'll do some American colours, because that will be really nice to do. So I'll make maybe like a little squadron. That'll be really cool, right? My Churchills are done. My gun carriers, yeah, it would be nice to actually have some infantry tanks as well, because the 3-inch guns are probably a bit excessive just to have those. Also, to go with these, what I've also been working on recently is the terrain for them. So this is a little corner shop that I've got. It's had a lot of work done on it. So I bought these from Foreground Terrain, and they're just brilliant. Look at the detail on that. That's all flat sprues that all come apart in layers on layers on layers, with bits of plastic in there for all the windows. Look at that. All the floors all come apart, so if you wanted to play infantry based games in there, you can. Little bit of advertising for Foreground in there. The only thing is when I was making it, I kind of ruined it. It was my fault. On the floor below, that you got these little pins here that kind of, do you see the little pins that stick up? I broke one of them off on the floor below. So what I've probably got to do is, oh, is it going to pull apart? There we go. Is I'm going to, you see there, it's kind of mashed away. I've got to make another one, so I'm going to get like a cocktail stick and drill a little hole and super glue it in, so that it would go into the little hole in the floor above, because otherwise they don't match up very well, they don't line up. Also, when I was putting the tops of these shelf bits in, they stick off a little bit too far that way, and it pushes this floor out. That's an exaggeration, but it pushes them out over here, so they don't line up very well. So that's something that I'm going to try and, can you see there how it doesn't step? If I line it up there, it doesn't push down, so I've got to try and file that away. Sanding's taking too long. I could use my little electric sander, but I've given my electric drill with the adapter for it to Kez for a little bit to practice on. So I'm going to have to do all this by hand, but that's okay. It does fit, it just needs a little bit of fine tuning, but the building is done. Well, I've got like a whole street worth of shops and houses and hotels and things, and it's really nice to play a little game, 15mm tanks in a little town. Really changes the whole game rather than playing around trees and things like that. So you've got the top floor there, and then the roof goes on the top. That's a bit of a trickier one to line up because it's actually hidden underneath the tiles, but it will go. Yeah, it's taken me ages to put that all together, and it's not done really well at all. Look at how wonky the chimney is on the top up there. It's really, really wonky, but it's well cool. Really, really cool. That's Foreground Terrain. You should definitely go and check him out. And it comes with all different signs in all the different languages: French, German, English. I went for French because I like the Normandy battles. So Le Petit Fours, is that how you pronounce it? But they've actually got the logo printed on the glass in the windows. It's so small you can barely see it. And when I put that one in, I put him in back to front by accident. I tried to pull him away, but it's in with super glue, and it went stick. I was like, oh, I'm not taking that out then. So yeah. Beautiful though, isn't it? Really, really nice. It's just absolutely cracking. Anyway, that's my buildings, that's my tanks. Cool. So let's come away from here. I finished a model on the show. It's so good. I hope you guys have had a good evening. I hope that you've been getting stuff done. It sounds like that you've been really busy soldiering away over there. Kez unfortunately has some problems with some decals, but you got loads. Lesson learned, I suppose. It's one of those things that's going to happen sometimes, right? Mike's been building his tavern with all his brickwork. Sounds like it's going on. Jeff, my dad, how are you getting on with those trenches? We were talking about building trenches and including into that build that you've got. Is trenches... Is that like an idea that you've got honed in now, or is that like an ongoing thing now, do you think? We've not seen some regular viewers on there. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. I am going to be around for a little bit after the show, so if you want to come along and hang out on Discord, I will be here for a while. I'm also going to be around all weekend, so if you're on Discord and you fancy a chat coming over to see what's going on, I will be here in the studio doing lots of different things. I think I should just do some tidying, but we'll see what happens, because I don't like to make plans, because that makes me feel bad. I'm just genuinely happy that I've got some models finished. even though I have rubbed a little bit of metal off on that one there just as I put it down. Anyway, cool. Look, I've had a great evening. Thank you so much for your company. Thanks for subscribing, because we got all the new subscribers. Oh, Jeff says trenches, just idea building. Oh, okay, cool. Put some pictures down, and if anyone's got some ideas, share them with Jeff. That would be great. If you do like what we do here on the show, you've enjoyed what we do on the show and are looking forward to more, hit the subscribe button, or even if you don't like it, subscribe, because it makes me feel better about myself. But don't forget to share the word of Easy A. Get the word out there. Tell a friend, tell someone you don't know, shout it out on the streets, or tell someone at work who just knows into this sort of stuff, because it really makes the community grow. And like I said earlier on, it's the YouTube algorithm, man. Everyone kind of talks about it. If I get one person subscribes, it shares a little bit. If I get two, it goes, oh, share it with some more, and then before you know it, like it's a cumulative effect, and it goes rolling. So share, subscribe. It will really help Easy 8 become, a bit of a known force on the internet, which it is. Also, while I'm on the subject, John from I was going to say from Easy 8. He's not from Easy 8. He's from Out of This World Models and Minis. There's a link to his channel just down there, and I really do suggest go and have a look, because his channels are really fun. He makes videos of just whatever it is he wants to paint, and he's really good at it too, and he's got some really cool ideas. And he's just released his first part of a multi-part video where he's making a Renegade Imperial Knight, and he's doing lots of homebrew sculpting and stuff on there, and he's always mentioning Easy 8, even if it's just attached at the bottom of his little description to his videos. And we've got a thing going on where we support each other across the pond, and he's a really sound guy, and he's got some wonderful videos, so please share some love, go and share some support, drop a little thumbs up, maybe leave a little comment, and go watch his videos, because they are really cool, and he's a sound guy. So yeah, please go and do that. And there's loads of other exciting things to go check out down there as well, and loads of links, loads of websites, loads of service providers, just stuff that I like. Go and check them all out, because that's what this community is all about. It's about the freedom of sharing stuff, and I don't ask for money for it. This isn't a job. I think we should all know about all these cool people, so go and check them all out. My dad's in there too. There you go, Dad. How's that for you? Cool. Look, I've had a wicked evening. I hope that you've had a great time too. In the meantime, I'll see you next week. Take care. Stay safe. Don't be classy. Stay safe. Be kind. Keep on painting. I'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye-bye. I could have said peace out. I say that all the time. Peace out.